Hi guys, we have Mohammed Saeid on Telly Talk Show tonight. Um, he's an Eritrea international and he plays here in Sweden for IK series. Welcome to the Telly Talk Show, Mohammed.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
How was it yesterday? Congratulations on your goal.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it was a tough game yesterday. Two good teams, and yeah, it was a point. We wanted to win, but I think we're happy with the point.
So it's been a year now playing league games without fans. What's the advantage and the disadvantage playing games without fans?
Well, the advantage is that you can hear everything, from the players, and it's you don't feel as much pressure, I guess. But that's also a disadvantage because you want to hear the fans, you want to feel the pressure of big games and games at all. Also, the disadvantage is that it's harder to get ready for a game. Normally, you have fans either they are rooting for you or they're against you. But now you have no one, so it's kind of harder to get ready for a game. So hopefully they can sort out that problem very soon.
Yeah, I can see there's a few countries playing with fans now, especially in Denmark. And
Yeah,
when we saw the League Cup final, Man City against was it Tottenham? There was few fans,
yeah, yeah.
so I'm sure most of the players are missing the fans being at the games.
Yeah, 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 for sure, for sure. It's a big part of why we as players play and why people at home sitting watching appreciate the game as well because they see how passionate the fans are.
So tell us about your move to West Brom in 2002 when you were 11 years old.
Well, it's a long process really because playing here in Sweden, played for a good team called BK Forward, and we had a lot of good players, and just playing tournaments in different places, different cities, countries, and so we got some interest from teams in the UK, and my parents decided that it would be the best option for me to move to the UK and pursue my footballing career. But it was difficult in the beginning because I didn't speak the language so well. I only spoke uh, Swedish, and so it took a while to get acclimated to the UK and to the language.
Wow, wow. That was actually a good supportive from your parent to push you at that age to move to a country you actually don't even speak the language. What was the advantage and the disadvantage for you there?
The advantage was the it was a disadvantage as well because I didn't understand them and they didn't understand me. So really, I didn't understand what they were saying to me, whether it's good or bad. I didn't understand it. So it might have been good for me at that time not to understand what the people around me are saying. But it was also one of the more difficult ones because I wasn't able to communicate with the players. So if I wanted to say something, I couldn't say it to them. So it was both advantage and disadvantage that I couldn't communicate with the players.
Oh, okay. So you learned like English when you were down there, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And the system before you went to England, I know obviously you were young, but
yeah.
looking back, the youth system compared to the Swedish system, which of them is much better or helps the youth to progress in football?
I think it's a difficult question because it's two different things. Here in Sweden, it's more about the enjoyment of the game and remaining a kid for as long as possible. Whereas in England, it becomes a business real quick. Either you're a professional or you're not. So in a sense, it brings or it takes away the happiness that the kids have for the game. Whereas here in Sweden, you have the happiness, but maybe the resources of improving as a player is not as big. So there's pluses and minuses for both, but uh, I think as a whole, the UK have bigger resources to make sure that you as a kid have everything possible to be able to make it to the pros.
Oh, okay, okay. And it seems like what you just said in England, even at that tender age, there's kind of like a little bit pressure on you when you have to have fun. By I think now they're trying to change it a little bit so that the kids can have much fun instead of pressure of trying to perform when they are at that young age, if I'm right.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. There is, but there is still that pressure nowadays. It comes from the social media platforms, where you see all these kids who are 9 or 10 or 11 years old signing for big teams and big clubs from other countries and going straight to the UK. So you still see these kind of things now. I think it's more dangerous now because it's more open. Yeah, you can see more now, what players make or which player goes to which club, and if one kid sees another kid go to the United Academy, maybe they want to take the same step. You know what I'm saying? Whereas before
Hmm.
it wasn't as open as it is now. So I think before it was much better because not many people knew about, for instance, me going to the UK apart from the people who lived around the same neighborhood as I did, which was a big plus because I didn't get the pressure of being the one kid that made it to the UK and signed with a Premier League team or Championship team. So I think they have to put rules, but there is always around these rules for these big teams.
Wow, wow. Tell us about your toughest moment in England. Um, was it true that you were suspended from school being an innocent? Can you tell us more about the incident?
No, it's just a I don't know if it was a misunderstanding, but like as a kid, I didn't understand the language. I didn't understand what people were saying. So you get into fights with other kids, and obviously I can't defend myself with words because I don't know any English.
Mhm.
Uh, so the teachers wouldn't know if I was innocent or if I was guilty. They just saw a kid, getting into a fight with other kids, and yeah, that's it. You got to be punished for that. It was only until after I spoke English that I was able to like talk to the teachers and tell them, if there was any trouble, why it happened, and I was able to defend myself in that way. But before I wasn't able to do that.
Wow, wow. I can't imagine how difficult it was for you when you didn't even understand the language and your parents supported you to move to UK at that age. Now let's talk about your brand, a socks. Lot of footballers using
Yeah.
it. I see Guaiton, one of the most experienced player in Sweden, one European winner. How did you come up with this brand?
Well, it's really simple. I like to when I'm not playing football, think about business ideas on how I'm able to expand beyond my footballing career, and how I'm able to take it to the next level. Because more often than not, players when they're about to finish or uh, just stop playing football, they don't know what they're gonna do. and I didn't want to wait until after my career to think about what I'm gonna do. So I wanted to do something before, and these socks typically are very expensive. And I know as a kid when I was younger, I wasn't able to afford something like this. So I put myself in others' situation and said, why not make something that's as good as the other socks, but costs maybe half as much, so more people are able to afford it and make sure the product is good. So that's how I started, and I made plenty of colors for other people to use, and it takes it time. There's a lot of uh, disadvantages with having a company that you run, but at the same time you have a footballing career. Uh, but you have to try to manage, and you learn a lot along the way. And I think that's what what's made it so successful so far.
So if anybody wants to order your socks, how can they go about it, please?
They have a I have a website. It's called magnitude90.com, and you're able to order your socks from there, and it'll get shipped the next day, and it's pretty fast delivery depending on obviously where what country you live.
You had the chance to come back to Sweden with your childhood club Forward in 2009. How was the feeling when you were coming back to Sweden after spending few years in England?
It was a mixed feeling. It was a feeling of happiness of obviously coming back to a team that you know, but also it felt like failure because at one point you was about to play for a Premier League team, you was about to make it to the pros, and then the next you was basically maybe not play football anymore. So it was two feelings that I had, but I think I needed to come back to Sweden to understand why it was I was playing football, and it helped me a lot to go back to Sweden and play for my first team, because I knew the club very well, and I knew some players on the team very well, which helped me in my development.
You mentioned that you felt like you failed in England.
Yeah.
Why, and what makes you like had that thought?
Because you were so close to being a professional at Premier League level, and then it felt like you went to a team that's so far away from that Premier League. So in a sense, it felt like failure, and you don't know how or what to do until you're at that point in your life. And a lot of people talk about being strong mentally, and footballers maybe don't go through ups and downs, or that some people don't see football as normal people as such. But there's a lot of things that goes on in a footballer's mind at a point where maybe you're feeling that you're not where you want to be or where you expect it to be.
But in West Brom, you captained the under 18s, or was it the reserve side?
No, on the 18s, on the 18s.
Under 18s. Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
And when you got back to Sweden with your childhood club, I think after a season or two, you had a breakthrough to sign
Yeah.
for Örebro, a top
Yeah.
club in Sweden.
Yeah.
Would you say, coming back from England, you having the mindset that maybe you failed to get a pro contract with the Premiership club, would you say that made you to work harder to get that breakthrough to a top league in Sweden?
I don't know if it was working harder. I worked hard regardless, but I think it became more of a reality check that if I don't make it now, then maybe football is not for me. And I think that pressure gave me that breakthrough, because it wasn't just hard work alone; it was just the mindset of I have to make it now, and I think that's what happened.
What comes with like when you make up your mindset, how should footballers like turn bad to good in your situation whereby you turned up your mindset and you actually made it, you got that breakthrough? How can some footballers change it for themselves?
It's hard. It's not easy. If it was easy, I think a lot of players would do it. But the thing is that you have faith, and I believe in God, and and I think that at the time when I was down, that's probably the only thing I had. My prayers and wishing that things would go well, and if it doesn't go well, then God has a different plan for me. But putting myself in a situation where uh, I have to make it, there's only one mindset you have. You don't care if you lose, because at that time you're already losing. So the only way is up, and you should never be afraid of that.
Nice, nice. Have you ever been racial abused in Sweden before?
Yeah, when I was younger, just before
Wow.
we moved to England. I was so young, and I didn't really understand what the words meant at the moment. But yeah, I was young, and it's really hard to understand how kids can have so such a bad education. But being a parent, I think it's well, not me being a parent, but being a parent in general, I think is important to educate your kids on what's right and what's wrong. Teaching kids hate and bad things is just gonna make the kids even worse, because they try to copy everything you do as a parent, and you being a bad parent will just trickle down to the kids, and the kids will take after you.
So would you say that sometimes parents don't really like teach the kids how to comport themselves to other kids, or they do something that the kids learn to be racist to other skin color?
Yeah, sometimes just unintentionally, I think parents might do that, or even when you are younger, sometimes where you have parents who, if someone calls your house and they say, "Oh, is your mom at home?" and your mom was there, and she tell them I'm not at home. They're lying at the young
Yeah.
age, and
Hmm,
they'll take
hmm.
it with them to later, and that's an innocent lie. But the older the kid gets, the more he's gonna learn how to
Hmm.
lie, and the more lies he will tell. And I think that's how any problem starts. There's always someone who teaches the kids certain things, and they'll take it with them.
Wow, wow. You've actually made a valid point. I think this most African parents do that. Honestly, most of them do that in front of their kids, and they will be like,
Yeah,
"Oh, tell him it's not there. Tell her I'm not there." And then, just like you said, the kid will grow up with it, and he
yeah,
thinks
and he'll use the
he's
same thing.
saying the truth.
Yeah.
Hmm, 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 hmm. So, was your neighborhood very street like? And if it was, how were you able to get out of it, being involved with the street life?
Yeah, all neighborhoods really were rough neighborhoods, both in Sweden and in England. But I think that helped me in a sense, to become the person I am. That helped me communicate with people from different religions, with people from different, places who talk in different languages. It helped me and I'm thankful that I had that experience, because I know a lot of people who probably was in different neighborhoods where everything was much cleaner, and they never had the understanding or the way of life that the people in my neighborhood had. So I think it's important that you always have people living in neighborhoods where there is people who look like you,
Yeah.
so that you get a sense of your community, and so you get a sense of how important it is to to have a family. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I think it only helped me to become a better person. I never saw my neighborhood as a bad neighborhood, even though, you know, the media might be saying, "Oh, only bad things happen in these neighborhoods," but the
Mhm.
people in these neighborhoods never saw any bad things like that. So I'd say I never actually thought about leaving a neighborhood that I lived in. I was always happy to live in the community and the neighborhoods that I lived in.
Wow, wow. Talking about street life, we've seen lots of players coming from the neighborhood, and the gang life have stopped some of them to achieve their dreams, and some of them have been involved in gang life and then came out of it to make it in football. If you're going to advise the youth out there who wants to make it in life and are involved in street life or gang, what's going to be your advice to them?
Well, it's a difficult thing to advise kids nowadays, because there's so many things that are out there. One of which I mentioned already, which was the social media, and how people are portrayed, you know, of having so much money, or having cars, or having these nice things, and how easy it is to get your hands on these things. And I'm not saying gang violence is one of them, or, you know, joining a gang is a good thing, but it's an easy way of making money sometimes. You know, if you do this, then you'll get this much money, or if you do that,
Mm,
then, you know, and that's how it starts. And once you're in that circle, it's hard to get out. You know what I'm saying? So
mm,
it's a really hard uh, question, and hard way to describe of how you can advise someone. But advising, my parents would always say that money is not everything, and I didn't understand it at the time when they said it. I said,
mhm,
of course, money is everything. You know, when I was young, I said,
mm, mm,
because I didn't feel like I had maybe the same amount of money as maybe other people had. But as I grew older, I understood that what they were saying is that you're standing for something. You know, you don't sell maybe your family for money, or you don't
mhm,
do anything, like, you don't get the money by any means necessary. There's limits to how far you can go to get the money that you want to achieve. You know what I'm saying? You can either work hard for it and feel a sense of, I've worked very hard to get this kind of money, or you can get it in a way where it feel like cheating. You know what I'm saying?
mhm,
Whereas you do
mhm.
something bad and you get the money. So I'd say the initial thing I'd say is that, again, it comes from the parents teaching the kids that, you know, money is not everything. The family is very important, especially nowadays, where there's, you know, this COVID situation where you feel like you might never see someone again. Someone might fall sick who's been perfect, and all of a sudden he goes away. So it's very important to understand that, you know, family and health is more important than money.
Wow, wow. You've actually I think you've explained it and actually advised people to know that family is important than money. And when somebody say money is not everything, then there's an argument saying, oh, if money is not everything, why can't you afford this? Why can't you afford this? But just like you said, if you think deeper, then you understand that the way to get the money might not be the right way. That's why that concept that comes that money is not everything. Then you can think that, oh, okay, maybe if I get it this way, it's not the right way to get it. In Oribro, you played 3 seasons. You were one of the best players in Oribro during your time there. As a player, what was behind your success in Oribro?
Well, first it was because my grandma lived there, so I had family. My grandma, my uncle lived there, so and obviously my friends, and I'm from that city, so it helped a lot being from that city that I had other things to concentrate on, other than football. So my first year was very a difficult year for the team, but myself, I had a good year. But still, when the team is not doing so well, there's so much negative energy around the club. We got relegated, but having the sense of friends and family helped me come away from that stress of negativity. And I think over the 3 years, that's what helped me a lot. That I had some people close to me.
So family and friends do play a lot in a footballer's life when they are close to their family and friends. Do you think it helps them perform very good and don't stress about other stuff?
Yeah, not necessarily that they are close or stuff to that extent, but that you have the fundamentals of values of coming away from, because when you play football you're so concentrated on certain things to achieve a certain thing, to achieve great uh, football career or a great season. It takes a lot of energy, so the last thing you want to do is come away from that and being alone or whatever, and having your own thoughts to fight with, because that's going to drive someone insane. So that's why I say it's important to have family. It might not be in the same city, but you can call them every now and then, especially now when we have phones and FaceTime. You're able to call your family, frequently, anytime you want. So it's important that you have someone close to you to be able to talk to you, to be able to get things off your chest sometimes. As footballers, or even as men, sometimes we think we're too big to talk about emotions and whatnot, but it shouldn't be that way. Sometimes it's good that you have someone to talk to about everything, and that will help you and your career.
Wow, I think you just said something about men feeling that is talking about their emotion. I don't think it's much men that wants to talk about their emotion now, and it's like we feel like, oh, when you talk about your emotion or you feel like you are weak, people
Yeah.
sometimes tag you as a weak guy when you come out and you talk about your emotion. But people are facing mental health and stuff, and we've seen few players back in the days that have committed suicide through that. So I think, just like you said, it's always good to have people around you or people that you can reach out to. You had another breakthrough to move to MLS after, like I said, a very good season in Örebro, and there was other clubs in Denmark and Norway wanting you. Why did you choose MLS?
I've always chose my own way or path, so to speak, and I felt that this was the right move for me. And mind you, when I made this choice, a lot of agents said that my career was finished, because at the time
Mm-hmm.
MLS was still building. It wasn't the biggest league in the world, and wasn't one of the most popular ones in the world. But now you see a lot of players who go to MLS, and even when I went there, straight after maybe 1 or 2 months in, a lot of players would contact me and say, "Oh, I wanna play in the MLS. How do I do?" And all of this.
Wow.
So for me, it made me happy that I made the right choice in my eyes. I made the right choice to go to the MLS. But it was also from the coach. He called me constantly and asked, how I'm doing, how I'm feeling. Um, because my last 6 months in Örebro was a difficult period because they wanted me to sign a contract, and obviously I didn't want to sign. So during that period, this coach would call me every day and ask how I was feeling, and I think that made it easier for me to join not just MLS but his team in general, because it felt like he was genuine, and I haven't had a genuine coach like that. So he definitely made it easy for me to go to the MLS.
Yeah, just like you mentioned, you joined Columbus,
Yeah.
and the coach was showed more interested, and I wouldn't convince you to join. Do you think coaches played a big role when players are moving to club?
Yeah. They play a massive role. It's not always that you get to speak to the coach. Yeah, it could be the sporting director, but it's like salesmen. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? You're trying to sell a phone or you're trying to sell a certain thing. Uh, the one who sounds the best is most of the time the one that you choose. You know what I'm saying? So in football, it's the same. You have a coach, and whoever sounds the best, whoever appeals to you the most, is the one that you'll sign with. So yeah, I think it's an important part.
And in the States, when you moved to Columbus, you played with few players like Harrison Affo and Jonathan Mensah. What sort of players are they?
Yeah, I played with Aful. Aful is a great player. When I came, he signed, I think, to 3 or 4 months after. And he just came from Tunisia. He had a team in Tunisia.
Hmm.
And I was like, how is this guy not signed with the team? Because he was amazing. He played a friendly game. I remember because I was injured and I came back from injury and I played in that game, and yeah, I think he scored 2 or 3 goals as a right back. It's not normal, And yeah, he's a great player. He was a great player and he still is a great player. So he was an amazing talent.
Can you please tell us your experience on and off the pitch during your time in America?
On the pitch is amazing. It's amazing the amount of resources that teams in America have. The facility, trainer facilities, the coaches they have, everything around the football is top class. So you have nothing as a player. You have nothing to complain about. It's just about you performing to your best or to the best of your ability come match day. So on the pitch is amazing. Off the pitch was a lot of different things that sometimes you don't see on the news in the media. Most of the time when you talk about America, you talk about the racial injustice and all the problems, all the healthcare problems that people have and they're not able to afford, or poor people and stuff like this. But they were actually very friendly people in America. I liked America a lot. But there was also, all these problems that we see now on TV was also there before. So it's not something new. It's got to do with the history of the country, of how it was before, and what kind of rules and amendments they have already in place. So it's gonna take a lot to change these amendments and change these civil rights that people have, to make it more appealing to everyone.
But was it true that you had a gun point at you at some point in America, or was he one of your friends?
Yeah, no. It was a gun pointed at me, but it was like a couple of times we came close to being uh, in in a position like that where the police would pull out a gun. But we never got to that point, but it was very close, and all because one time we drove too fast, and then the other time they just wanted to check our driving license, and the third time they wanted to check if the car was mine, which is ridiculous.
Wow, wow. It's crazy how this stuff is going on in America and some other countries. And like you said, this stuff people don't see it, and then players go through a lot that they cannot even share it
Yeah,
to people because people might think that they are lying or it did not happen. But in your
yeah,
case, just like you said, you've been pulled away for a couple of times where they are even asking, "Is this your car?" Like, it's crazy. How do you think the football bodies, like the football governance, like FIFA, UEFA, how can they stop racist and social media abuse? Because I think, was it 2 days ago, Eto was talking about it, and now few clubs in England are posting about stopping social media abuse to footballers. How can this be stopped?
I think it's not a simple issue. It's something that's been going on for a long time. But I think it's way too easy for people to, for example, make an account on Instagram. I think if they made it harder to make an account, or if you make an account, you have to have passport number or whatever, so people can know who you are exactly. Nowadays, you don't know who is that's behind the account, and also that they get bigger fines for teams that, or well, actually supporters who are racist, or and harsher penalties. So if it's not money, it's something else. Maybe you go prison for a couple of days or something like that. Just to make sure that you understand that it's a serious issue. I think that's the only way. But nowadays, FIFA and UEFA, it hasn't been too big of a deal made from them. Anytime there's a racist comment or anything like that, they just brush it under the carpet. It feels like, and they just wear these T-shirts saying, no to racism, but there's nothing really been done about the problem.
Yeah, it's like there's no any action done like consistent. Even if there's an action that's gonna be done, you will see it once and then it stops. Then this racist stuff continues for so many years, and then we come back to like square one again, fighting it.
Yeah.
You are a Muslim. How do you manage to fast and play football with it? And I think some coaches are understanding Muslim players now. Because some years ago, you saw this Yaya Toure had a problem with Pellegrini. Sule Muntari he used to play for Inter Milan. He had a little bit problem with Mourinho. Canute also had a problem when he was in Sevilla,
Yeah.
when he was fasting and playing and training with it. How do you manage to do this?
Oh, it's not a problem really. I've been doing it for since I was 16, really, playing football and fasting. So yeah, it's not really even younger son, but it's not really that hard to do. But it's more like you say, there's more understanding now of the different religions, and now one of them is Muslims, and when we fast during Ramadan, so there's more understanding, and the coaching staff in my team, even previous teams, have always helped me with what it is I need to drink and eat uh, during the time I can eat, to make sure I maximize the recovery and minimize the injury potential. So I think we've come a long way in the sense of educating the people around us in why we fast, and it's actually a good thing that you fast health wise. Um, so yeah, we've been getting a lot of the benefits, and a lot of people are understanding, the reasons behind fasting and accepting it.
Yeah, just like you said, I think coaches are understanding now because now in the Premier League, there's players that are fasting and then they'll have a break to break their fast,
Yeah,
which shows much respect to Islam's worldwide as well, that they can do what they believe in and still do their job,
yeah, yeah.
which is good. So as a player, what makes you happy and don't make you happy, like off the pitch?
Yeah, family, because I've been away from my family, my parents for so long. During my career, I've always been abroad, and my family they live in England, so it's hard sometimes to be away from them for so long, and then maybe seeing them once or twice a year. So that's one of the things that make me happy, that when I'm with them, I appreciate every second. Uh, and yeah, I wish that that one day, inshallah, I live in England and I'm with my family again. But that's one of the main things that make me happy.
After a few years in MLS, right, you had another move to Denmark in
Mm,
Lundby,
yeah.
if I'm right. What happened in that short period of time in Lundby?
I can write a book about that. 4 months that I was there. It was amazing.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
Wow.
because I came there and I met the coach before I even signed with the team, and we spoke about how they're gonna play and their plans and how they plan to use me and all of this. And I was really happy, and I think the same day or the next day we signed the contract, and yeah, so I come for preseason, and we are away, I think, in Portugal. Yeah, I think it was Portugal. We was in
Mhm.
Portugal and preseason, and obviously they're talking in Danish, and they had financial issues. The team had financial issues, but I wasn't to understand because I don't speak the language, and nobody translated for the foreign players in the team. So we had zero
Mm.
clue on what's going on. So yeah, we train as normal, but we feel there's tension in the squad. There's something wrong. But obviously
Mm.
we don't understand, and not many of them spoke really well for me to understand it. But anyway, we are in Portugal for 2 weeks, and then we come back from Portugal to Denmark, and that's when people start telling us small parts of the problem, and saying, we're not going to get paid this month because of financial issues. And, we don't understand that it's that serious. So yeah, we didn't get paid the first month, and we wasn't able to play friendly games because the club couldn't afford, you know, a bus fare, and they couldn't even afford the insurance for the players, so we didn't even train. So I was just home
Wow.
for, well, a few days, and the owner was looking to sell the club. So there was talks about Aston Villa buying the club. There was talk about other Premier League teams, German teams, and whatnot to buy the club. But then it was like, I think it was a local businessman that bought the club, and they paid everyone a few months later. But the problem was that when all of these problems happened, and the coach told me that he didn't want any foreign players in the team, and I think we had 5 foreign players, and he said, yeah, well, we don't know how to handle foreign players, and this was me him having a conversation, and I'm shocked. I'm like, bro, are you serious? Like, what do you mean? You signed me like
Wow.
2 months ago.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? I said, how are you gonna tell me this? Especially now when the team has financial problems. This is the last thing that you want to hear as a player. Even though Denmark is similar to Sweden, but it felt like
Mhm.
it was so far away from what Sweden was. And yeah, from then on we had many issues, and that's why that's why I didn't play so much. Um, yeah, in a short kind of way of explaining everything, but that's what happened.
Wow, what a crazy moment. A coach signing you and later telling you this stuff. I don't know. I can't imagine what was going on in your head.
Yeah, it's mad.
That,
Yes.
that's crazy. That's crazy. Can you please tell us who is the toughest midfielder you've played with or against, and who is the most experienced player you've played with or against?
Toughest midfielder probably. It's a hard one. Pirlo was one of the best ones, even though he's a little bit older. But yeah, he was one of them, and the most experienced and best player probably Drogba. Was so strong, amazing player, and yeah, amazing finisher. You don't know how big he is until like you see him live.
Yes, wow.
Yeah, he's massive.
I can't imagine how was the feeling playing against Drogba or and Pirlo. Like, you watch these players on TV and then you see them on the same pitch with you, and then you like, now what should I do? Like, should I try to kick him or should I try to push him off the ball?
I know. Trust me, that's how you feel.
You had your debut for Eritrea in 2019. Someone just asked, why did you choose Eritrea over Sweden when you had a chance to play for the Swedish national, I think the under 21s or something?
No. I didn't have that chance. I didn't have the chance of playing for Sweden. It was just that
Okay.
having a chance to play for Eritrea was a big thing for me and for my family. Representing the country that we are from is an important thing. And before that time, I'd never been to Eritrea, so I appreciated the opportunity of being able to represent my country and at the same time see my country and see the people in my country, which has been a dream for my family. So it was an amazing experience.
Well, I can't imagine how your family felt and how happy they were to see you playing for the country and stuff. You played with Brighton in the national team. What sort of player he is and what sort of person can you describe him as?
Yeah, he's a really intelligent person and intelligent player. He thinks about the game in a very good way. So his IQ is very high, and he's always a few steps ahead of everyone else. So great player and a great person as well.
We hope you can connect us to him to have you on this show one day, because that would be very great for him to actually like tell us the in and out of Swedish football. He played in Spain. He's now kind of a pundit in some few games. I've seen him being a pundit. So it's gonna be very, very like great to have him on this show one day. You moved back to Sweden to your current team, Sirius, after that crazy story in Denmark
Yeah.
that happened. Um, when you are coming back, just like you said, you've always had options. There was Oribro wanted you back, few clubs wanted you. You decided to sign for Sirius. Why did you choose Sirius?
No, I felt it was the right move for me. I think it was the right club for me. I spoke to the coaches here at the time, and um, they were last when I came to the team. I think they had like 5 points or something, and I had a few friends who knew about the club, and yeah, I made the choice of coming and signing for Sirius, and it turned out to be a good one.
Yeah, just like you said, it turned out to be a very, very good one. Last year, 7 goals, 4 assists from the midfield. You bossed it up last year. I think just like you left to the States, people saw the type of player you are, how good you are. Would you say last year was one of the best seasons in your career, if you want to compare compare some other performances in different clubs?
Best one, I don't know, but if you're talking about points, yeah, it was my best one because I scored the most goal in my career, and I was involved in a lot of the goals. So yeah, if we're talking about creating chances and points, yeah, it was.
Congrats again for your goal yesterday. Another, you banged in a nice goal. What was the celebration about?
The celebration is the joker, and it's to bring awareness to mental health, uh,
Okay.
which, like we spoke before, is a
Mm-hmm.
big thing, especially for men. It feels like as men we don't talk about emotions, and we don't talk about how people feel, and if you talk about your emotions, then you're weak, which should be the opposite. It should be that you're strong if you talk about your emotions. Sometimes you need help. Everyone needs help sometimes, and
Mm-hmm.
talking to the right person can help you, can even save a life. So my celebration is to bring awareness to mental health.
Messi or Ronaldo, and why?
I've always been a Messi guy. I like Messi because he's more all round. He can make assists, he can score goals, he makes the team much better. And yeah, he's more fun to watch. So I choose Messi.
And then there's another question. Which league is best for you? MLS, the Danish league? Like obviously you didn't play that much, but you had some few experience there, and then the Swedish league.
So the MLS is more individual. Individually, I think the players there are much better than any of the leagues. They
Mm-hmm.
are top quality. So individually, MLS is much better. But if you look at tactically, if you look as a team, Swedish league is much better, and the Danish league is much more physical. So a little bit of everything in all of these leagues.
Few days ago, we saw what was happening with football. I think it was about to collapse, I would say. What do you think of the Super League move, even though it has been cancelled? But what was your point of view about it?
It's a hard one because if you think as a business person, then you have to think about some teams might need the money, like Arsenal, for example. They might need the money
Mm-hmm.
more than any other team, even though the owners
Mm-hmm.
is super rich. But this money that they'll get, maybe they invest in the team. But for football as a whole, I think it's a bad thing. I don't think it's a good thing that, a couple of teams go away and make their own league. It's not going to be fun. It's going to be boring. People are going to get tired of it. I think you should keep the traditions of having the teams in their respective countries, and just make it more fair, that everyone gets, just like in England, everyone gets an equal share of the money. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
how it should be.
Yeah, it's crazy how everybody fought for it to be stopped. And one
Yeah,
thing I was social media, even we were talking about these races and stuff. Patrick Evra made a video and
yeah.
was saying the energy that was put in it to be stopped. Why can't the same energy be put in races and social media abuse to be stopped? Do you agree with what he said?
Yeah, 100%. But it's when it comes to racist thing, it's not about money, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So the people are not as affected. But when it comes to money, then everyone is affected. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? Racist is
Yeah.
only a certain people who are affected, minorities most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas when it comes to money, it's only it's everyone but certain people who make the most money.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So in a sense, it affects everyone, and that's when people go crazy. But as soon as it doesn't affect them, they don't care.
That's true. That's why FIFA and UEFA actually try to cut it as soon as possible. Uh,
Yeah.
Before you leave, please, what's your advice to every footballer out there? Because you are very experienced. You've played in the world, 4 different leagues with different players against like one of the deadly striker in the world, one of the deadly midfielder in the world. What would be your advice to footballers out there?
I'd say work hard, train hard, and believe in yourself. Because if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will. So I think it's a very important thing that you, as a person, as a player, believe in your abilities. And if you don't make it in a certain team or a certain club, it doesn't mean that football is over. You can always try somewhere else. Football is all about opinions. You might like one player, I might like another player. You know what I'm saying? It's never maths. It's never 1 + 1 is 2. You know what I'm saying? So there's different ways to make it to the top. As long as you work hard, you have discipline, you have everything you need to make it as a footballer.
Thank you very much for giving us your time to be on Telly Talk Show. We appreciate it, and we wish you all the best in the up and coming games, and hopefully there's gonna be fans in the matches. Guys, I'm gonna post his thank you very much, and all the best, bro.
Thank you so much. Thank you.